There was a question on my channel, a comment on my channel on one of my video where someone was asking about migrating one single project from one instance to another instance. So I made a video on migrating your Jira instance to another server, and of course when it involves migrating or migration of the whole instance, you're basically making a clone of Jira on a new server, on a different server. And you have to sometimes do it, maybe if your old hardware or your old infrastructure needs an upgrade, or maybe for some reason you have to move your entire instance. You can do that, of course, by basically using few different methods, like if your instance is not very huge, you can use XML export and you can restore it, and of course you have to migrate your attachments. If your instance is not really small or medium size instance, then you can obviously preferably you can move your entire instance by taking a dump of your home directory, your install directory, and of course your database, and of course you can restore them. And while you're doing this migration, you can also potentially upgrade. If you're not really doing a major upgrade, I think you can easily, without worrying about things breaking, of course test it first, but you have a chance, you have an opportunity to also perform an upgrade while you're migrating. Now, going back to the question was how to migrate one project from one instance to another instance. Now, there is a way of doing it in Jira natively. There is actually a feature called project import. So what you need to do, you need to take a export of your whole Jira instance, and when you take that export, it will basically create a zip file that you need to move to the target instance. And using this feature of project import, so project import is a feature in Jira that you can use, and with the help of this feature you can actually use that big zip export from your source instance, and then you can perform selective import of a project. Now, this method of project import works really well, but the only condition is that your target instance should have all the configurations in place. For example, if your project is using an issue type, or maybe a workflow with few statuses, or maybe any scheme that is required for that particular project, that is needed by that particular project. So those configurations should be there on your target instance. Now, to be honest, for one or two projects you can manage it. I believe you can always create your own issue type with a scheme that is needed. You can also create the workflow manually. You can manage it for one project. You can always use the workflow export and import feature in Jira on server at least. Now, using and by the way, I'm talking about the server version of Jira. So using project import feature, you can migrate one project, but as I mentioned, you need configurations, you need those schemes to be in place. And if you have to migrate not one or two, but maybe more than one or more than few projects, or maybe you're doing a consolidation of two Jira instances, then you can use an app like Project Configurator. So I'm making, of course, videos on Project Configurator these days, and my objective, as always, is to help you guys with understanding how this app can be used. And I'm making this series on migration using Project Configurator because now there are a lot of companies and there are a lot of instances in those companies, and they need to consolidate their instances because Jira Server version is no longer there. I mean, it won't be there after 3 years from now, but data center version will always be there. That is, of course, the plan from Atlassian. So companies are now thinking of course, consolidating their Jira instances if they can, wherever applicable. And of course, it will. I mean, there is no other option. I mean, either they will consolidate and move to Jira DC, which is the only option, or they move to cloud, which may not be desirable for everyone. So going back again to the original question, for selective one project, you can use project configure. You can use project import, but if you have more than one project, then you can use an app like project configurator to migrate your configurations as well, because this is what you can do with this app. And of course, you can watch my videos that I'm making nowadays on project configurator, so that you can also learn how to do it. And that is all I wanted to talk about in this video. I hope you enjoyed watching this video and you also learned something new today. Thank you very much.